Hair loss mistakes that you're probably making, because I was making them too. I've been through a lot this summer. A lot of doors, some gates, even some windows. But I've also been through a lot emotionally. It's no secret that my hair has been falling out, and I have been doing things to try to regrow it. There are people that I have looked to online, specifically dermatologists and trichologists, like hair experts, who have mentioned different things. And there are multiple things that I'm now doing for the hair loss. There's also like 3 major things that I didn't even realize could literally have my hair stop growing or falling out, that were mistakes that I was making and didn't even realize it. Hair anchoring is a term that I didn't know about until recently, and I wish that I knew before. Hair anchoring is basically how your hair anchors to your scalp. And when it comes to hair loss, if we can, number 1, keep the hair there longer, number 2, grow new hair from the scalp outwards, and then number 3, make sure that we're nourishing our strands so they don't break off. That's what leads to healthier, thicker looking hair. And a lot of these things have to do with overall health and wellness too, as well as saving money, because the pink tax, oh, the pink tax is no joke. Specifically, I've been pulling my hair out in clumps. I have kind of spoken about it, but like there's like some major things that happened in my life. It's like one core thing, but then it like relates to other stuff, and it sucks to say the least. But I literally have been raking my hands through my hair and pulling out clumps of it like in the sink. And the eye restore helmet is something that Dr. Dre got me using. This is LED lights and then low level laser. She recommended this like a year and a half to actually like 3 years ago now, back in 2020. That's when I got it, and I've been using it since, but I stopped using it because I like stopped doing my skincare. I stopped taking care of myself. A lot happened. I wasn't expecting the damage to be that bad. I think I'm gonna have to talk about that in another video, but that's why I'm doing this. Well, we speak about some of the key things that needed to change. And the first is one that I don't think a lot of people think about, but it's vitamin D. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, and it's one of the most important because nearly every single cell, every single one all over our entire body has a receptor for vitamin D. It's one of the most widely used in the body. And it's also super essential for not only our hormones and having us be healthy overall, but specifically for skin and hair health. Obviously, don't go like popping vitamin D pills. You should get your levels checked first, because vitamin D is oil soluble. It actually stays inside of the body. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, if you take too much of them, usually you can just kind of pee them out. Vitamin D can actually accumulate in the body if you take too much. But here's the thing, most people are too low on it. Now, vitamin D, we've known for years, is essential for like brain health, for even gut health, for skin and hair. But there are even new medical studies looking at how the virus that caused the panorama may be able to be helped by vitamin D. But we know that specific illnesses can cause hair loss, stress can cause hair loss, but even just low vitamin D can cause hair loss. And I didn't realize this. You know, Hashimoto's is a thyroid disorder that runs in my family. A lot of my family members have a low thyroid. I don't, which I'm really grateful for, but my vitamin D levels were like on the low side of normal. So a while ago, I started taking vitamin D supplements, and they have been fantastic. You can get them over the counter. If you get them over the counter, they're vegan. If you get ergocalciferol, it could be derived from animals, so just keep that in mind. But a lot of people don't realize that even if their vitamin D levels are within the range of normal, if they're on the low side or if their body isn't metabolizing it correctly, it could lead to low vitamin D symptoms and hair loss. And of course, talk to your doctor about that. Don't go just popping pills. But if you've ever been recommended vitamin D by your doctor and you don't want prescription, there's some over-the-counter ones that I've been using. And again, our skin produces vitamin D as well. You can get it orally, like basically taking it as a supplement, or you can get it from being in the sun. And a lot of people claim that like, oh, if you wear sunscreen, it's going to prevent you from making vitamin D. No, it doesn't. Sunscreen is not covering every area of our body that much that it prevents the sun from going into our skin, making vitamin D, having it go through our kidneys, our liver, etc. The sun does not prevent that. And it's actually not even sunlight that causes the vitamin D synthesis. It's actually UV light. But if you have thyroid issues, if you think that your vitamin D is low, please go get it checked first. But a lot of times that can cause major hair loss or stop the hair from growing. And just taking an over-the-counter supplement can really be beneficial, as medically proven and as seen by so many people. Obviously, it takes time for things like vitamin D to work. This isn't going to work overnight, but if you have a good amount of vitamin D in your body within a normal, healthy range, yes, your hair, your skin, your nails, and even other functions of your body can perform better and just optimally. The way that vitamin D actually works for the hair and skin is that it helps with epidermal differentiation, basically helping our skin and hair create new cells. And specifically, when vitamin D is taken orally, it is heavily responsible for how our hair creates new hair follicles. So obviously speak to your doctor or your medical professional provider about how much vitamin D you need. Most people take about 1,000 milligrams per day, but obviously your lifestyle and body is going to change depending on that. I like this one from Ritual. This one's fantastic. It's specifically for women and it's a multivitamin, but this one has like a minty taste. It's a vegan capsule and the minty taste is like refreshing instead of like nasty. If you really want a budget option, you can get these Centrum women's ones from like Costco. This was actually given to me at an event, but this one has, yeah, 100% of your daily recommendation for vitamin D as well as other multivitamins. And again, you can get them as a multivitamin with multiple things for overall health and wellness, or you can just get a vitamin D on its own supplement. But vitamin D is so essential for our entire body and our hair. It's something that if you're low on, you should really get taken care of. And for me, taking this regularly was something that I didn't realize was so essential and really needed for my specific hair and nail and skin health. And we really need to talk about the pink tax for things like minoxidil and rosemary oil to regrow the hair. We're going to talk about that in just like a second. But even the pink tax of like a women's multivitamin costs more than a men's. If your doctor says to get a specific one, I would just do that because it might be cheaper than getting one that's specifically formulated for women because of that pink tax, which we're going to talk about in a second. But we also have to talk about traction alopecia. Hair anchoring is something that I didn't realize was so essential until more recently. And I wished I would have known about this earlier. And it's a mistake that I, as well as a lot of other people, have made. Again, the hair needs to grow needs to grow from the scalp originally and needs to have the nutrients to do so. But then once the hair is there, we want to keep it there and then prevent breakage or prevent pulling on it. And for people who wear really tight ponytails, think Ariana Grande or Jojo Siwa, have you noticed that like their hairline retracts? That's called traction alopecia. And literally pulling on the hair or having these tight hairstyles can cause hair loss to worsen. There are switches that I made. For example, I don't use the little rubber band stringy thingies anymore. I only use hair clips, and I have found that those are so much better for my hair. And then when I'm not using things like hair clips, I literally have these doohickeys, these helmets and like scalp massagers that have been phenomenal for stimulating blood flow and circulation. When it comes to the little hair thingies, like I think they're called the Goody hair bands. Have you ever noticed that like when you pull them out of your hair from a ponytail, all of this hair comes out on them? That's literally ripping hair out of your scalp. And I didn't think it was such a big deal until I started looking down at the hair bands and I was like, wow, we're ripping a lot of hair out of my scalp today, aren't we? Yes, and no bueno. If you can use clips or clamps or things that don't pull and rip that hair, that's going to be so much better for you overall. And if you're someone who loves to wear high ponytails but doesn't want the hair loss, I saw this girl, I think it was on TikTok, and she was showing how you can do like a double ponytail. You first do the original ponytail from the back, and that's what actually holds the traction. And then you take like the bangs area and then you flip that over the top. So it looks like a high pony, but the pulling doesn't happen on this kind of area by the scalp where a lot of people see hair loss from that traction. And instead, the actual pulling kind of happens here in the back. And so that way, if you are losing hair and you still want to wear a high ponytail, that's how you can do it. This is also fantastic. Again, the Iris Store is something that Dr. Dre got me on. This is expensive, but I would recommend getting it on sale. This is definitely not a budget option, but one of the best things that I have found. And again, when I stopped using this, I really had a hard time and saw the actual damage that I was doing to myself by not caring for myself. This is low-level laser therapy as well as LED lights. This is fantastic, and it's basically the closest that I've been able to find that you can get to something that is done professionally in clinic. Obviously, this is not hair transplant surgery, but it is that red LED and low-level laser that actually goes all the way to the back. And that's something I liked about this when Dr. Dre originally spoke about it, is that if you're losing hair up here by the crown, this actually goes all the way over. As you can see, mine is scuffed up because I've tried to travel with it. It's not the easiest to travel with, and like it got like tossed around inside of my suitcase and it has a bunch of scuffs on it, but I have loved this, and this has lasted me almost 2.5, maybe 3 years now, and I've been using it consistently for 1. And again, I will be talking about what happened when I stopped using it. They have money back guarantees. Basically, if you don't like it, you can return it within a certain amount of time. And that for me, when originally getting it, was really, really important. When I stopped using this, I did notice some of the biggest differences. Even when I am unable to take care of myself really well, I just don't even own hair ties anymore, so I don't find myself like pulling at my hair. I just use these clips, and I'll actually take this off for a second and show you kind of how I do my hair regularly. I literally just take both sides of my hair, kind of like a ponytail. I twist them, and then I kind of like cross them in the back, and then I just clip. And that prevents the pulling from happening right here. The pulling kind of happens in the back. It kind of looks good. And then if I have my hair done or styled, I can really easily just take it down and go like this. And that to me, these have been fantastic. I get these off of Amazon. They're these little butterfly clips and they make me happy even on my sad days. And again, if you want a really good review, I would say look at Dr. Dre's videos as well as Dr. Gary Linkoff. He's actually been regrowing his hair. He has an immune condition that caused him to lose all of his hair, including his eyebrows and his lashes. He actually did a video recently about regrowing his. His channel is fantastic and so informative. One other resource comes from my grandmother's garden. Would you look at that? Rosemary oil. We did a video recently on the TikTok trend of rosemary oil, the actual science and the medical studies behind it, because they are quite fascinating. Rosemary oil was specifically compared to minoxidil. And you probably know minoxidil, you've seen it like on store shelves. That is a brand that is sold over the counter, basically to consumers, and they have a men's and a women's version. And the way minoxidil works is by keeping your hair anchored to your scalp using this hair anchoring. So keeping it in that stage of hair growth. The thing is that when you stop using the minoxidil, the hair falls out. And here's the thing, they compared minoxidil to rosemary oil, and they found that people who used rosemary oil consistently actually had less irritation than the minoxidil group, and the results were about the same. So if you want to buy minoxidil, feel free. I don't actually know if it's cruelty-free, so I don't buy it, but I do have rosemary oil. And this is something that I haven't tried until recently, and I didn't realize could be so helpful. And this actually isn't rosemary oil, this is cinnamon oil because I bought rosemary oil and I don't know where the f I put it. But note that rosemary oil is actually the one that has the studies behind it. And there is a difference between rosemary oil and rosemary water and how that all works, so you should know that before just applying full strength oils to your scalp. Please keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to both minoxidil or rosemary oil or even these, there is a pink tax, and Dr. Shireen Idris, she's a dermatologist from New York who's amazing as well. You should definitely go check out her channel, but she has spoken in depth about the pink tax, and she's like, don't go buy the women's minoxidil. If you're gonna buy minoxidil, get the men's stuff because it's more potent and you're paying less for it. Like, hello. And if you want to do rosemary oil instead, that's kind of what I'm going for at this point. And we're not going to go into gender studies or feminism or all those conversations here, but women's products in general, specifically those that are pink or that are targeted, marketed, and made for women, generally cost more. And when it comes to hair loss can impact anyone and everyone, men, women, you name it. So if we're looking for hair loss solutions and we're going to the ones marketed for women, are they really going to be better? Because hair grows out of the scalp in the same main ways, regardless of which sex or gender you are. And so why are we going to spend more on a pink tax if we know that the vitamin D or the rosemary oil or the active ingredient in minoxidil is really what's going to help? And that's one of the major things that I didn't know was causing my hair loss, was probably the stress of the pink tax and trying to get it right and trying to source the right products and use the right things. This entire hair loss journey has just been exhausting. And then on top of my other stress from these major things that I literally can't get my mind off of every single day, then there's like the stress of losing my hair, and then that stresses me out more, and then I feel guilty for not using my helmet correctly or not taking my supplements as I should or not doing the things that I know are good for me, like my skincare routine. That all just compounds, and I feel like, you know, the perils of being a woman, the perils of even being a human today are so intense that it's a lot. And I think that I just need to be a little bit more compassionate with myself and remind myself that we all go through it. And if you're going through it, remind you that there are options, there are things you can do, there are things that are actually fun and enjoyable. Stop shoulding on yourself and on yourself. Don't shit on yourself and don't should on yourself, because even if we should do things, taking things one step at a time, educating ourselves, knowing what can and can't help, making those right decisions, and trying to make small positive changes is still something to celebrate. And then if we can find those little things that make us happy, you know, like going for a hike or a fun new product or texture, or if you're invigorated by science and enjoy reading medical studies, or you feel like a dork but you kind of love it when you wear a cool little laser hair growth helmet, embrace those things. Even if they're weird or quirky and other people don't like them, chase your excitement, do things that invigorate you, and celebrate those small wins. Even though I'm saying that to you, I think I'm also saying it to myself because I've really needed to hear that recently. Because again, I've been through a lot this year, and that includes a lot of doors. And yes, I did go through a window. That was fun. Butterfly hair clips. These make me freaky deakin' happy, okay? I love these, and I love you. Remember to reapply your SPF. Remember to stay hydrated both orally and topically. And yes, that includes hydrating your scalp. Always be beYoutiful both inside and out. And I cannot wait to see you in the description for that TikTok video for the details of the giveaway. And of course, in this next one. Love you guys. Bye.